Hey, the OK Plateau. If you visited my office in the fall of 2005, you would have seen a post-it note, one of my external memories, stuck on the wall above my computer monitor. Whenever my eyes strayed from the screen, I saw the words, "Don't forget to remember," a gentle reminder that for the next several months until the U.S. memory champion, I need to strive to replace my regular procrastination patterns with more productive mnemonic exercise instead of browsing the web or walking around the block to cool my eyes. I picked up a list of random words and tried to memorize it. Rather than take a magazine or book along with me on the subway, I'd wipe out a page of random numbers. Did I understand at the time how weird I was becoming? I started trying to use my memory in everyday life, even when I wasn't practicing for the handful of arcane events that would be featured in the championships. Strolls around the neighborhood became an excuse to memorize license plates. I began to pay a creepy amount of attention to name tags. I memorized my shopping list. I kept a calendar on paper, and also one in my mind. Whenever someone gave me a phone number, I installed it in a special memory palace. Remembering numbers proved to be one of the real-world applications of the memory palace that I relied on almost every day. I used a technique known as major system, invented around 1658 by John Winkelmann, which is nothing more than a simple code for converting numbers into phonetic sounds. Those sounds can then be turned into words, which can in turn become images of a memory palace. The code works like this. The number 32, for example, would translate into MN 33. Would be MM. 33 would be MM, and 34 would be MR. To make those consonants meaningful, you're allowed to freely intersphere vowels. So the number 32 might turn into an image of a man. 33 could be your mom, and 34 might be the Russian space station Mir. Similarly, the number 86 might be a fish, 40 a rose, 92 a pen. You might visualize 3,219 as man, 32 playing a tuba, 19, or maybe a person from Metoba. 3,219, likewise, 7,879 would translate to KFKP, which might turn into a single image of a coffee cup, or two images of a cup and a cup. The advantage of major systems is that it's straightforward, and you can begin using it right out of the box. When I first learned it, I immediately memorized my credit card and bank account numbers. But nobody wins any international memory competitions with the major system. When it comes to memorizing long strings of numbers like 100,000 digits of pi, or the career batting average of every New York Yankee Hall of Farmer, most mental athletes use more complex techniques. That is known on the Worldwide Brain Club, the online forum for memory junkies, Rubik's Cubers, and mathletes, as person, action, object, or simply PAO. It traces its lineage directly back to the loopy combinatorial mnemonics of Giordano Bruno and Roman Lulu. In the PAO system, every two-digit number from 0 to 99 is represented by a single image of a person performing an action on an object. The number 34 might be Frank Sinatra, a person crewing an action into a microphone, an object. Likewise, 13 might be David Beckham kicking the soccer ball. The number 79 could be Superman flying with a cape. Any six-digit number, like, say, 34, 13, 79, can then be turned into a single image by combining the person from the first number with the action from the second and the object from the third. In this case, it would be Frank Sinatra kicking a cape. If the number were instead 79, 32, 13, the mental athlete might imagine the equally bizarre image of Superman crewing at a soccer ball. There's nothing inherently sinistrous about number 34 or Beckingham speak about 13. Unlike the major system, those associations are entirely arbitrary and have to be learned in advance, which is to say, it takes a lot of remembering just to be able to remember. There's a big fixed cost in terms of time and effort to complete on the memory circuit, but what makes this system so potent is that it effectively generates a unique image for every number from 0 to 9,999. And because of the algorithm necessary to generate unlikely scenes, PAO pictures tend by their nature to be memorable. The sport of competitive memory is driven by an arms race of sorts. Each year, someone, usually it's a competitor who is temporarily underemployed or a student with an unstructured summer vacation, comes up with an ever more elaborate technique of remembering more stuff more quickly, forcing the rest of the field to play catch-up. Ed had just spent the previous 6 months developing what he described as the most elaborate mnemonic behemoth ever brought to bear at a memory championship. His new system, which he referred to as Millennium PAO, represented an upgrade from the two-digit system used by most European competitors to a three-digit system consisting of 1,000 different person, action, object images. It would allow him to convert every number from 0 to 9,009,999 into a unique image that had a little two-digit laser bolt that could dart through numbers like a tuna on amphetamines. Now I have a three-digit 64-gun man of war, he boasted. It's enormously powerful, yet potentially difficult to control. If the system worked, he figured, it would advance the sport of competitive memory by a quantum leap. Mental athletes memorize decks of playing cards in much the same way, using a PAO system, which each of the 52 cards is associated with its own person, action, object, image. This allows any triple of cards to be combined into a single image, and for a full deck to be condensed into just 18 unique images. 52 divided by 3 is 17. With one card left over, with Ed's help, I laboriously created my own PAO system, which involved dreaming up 52 separate person, action, object images to be maximally memorable. One's images have to appeal to one's own sense of what is colorful and interesting, which means that a mental athlete's stock of PAO images is a pretty good guide to the gremlins that live in someone's subconscious. In my case, 1980 and early 90s TV icons. In Ben Pridmore's case, cartoon characters. In Ed's case, Ginger Barlows, and Depression-era English cricketers. The King of Hearts, for me, was Michael Jackson's Moonwalking with a white glove. The King of Clubs was John Goodman eating a hamburger, and the King of Diamonds was Bill Clinton smoking a cigar. If I were to memorize the King of Hearts, King of Clubs, and King of Diamonds in order, I would create an image of clubs of Michael Jackson eating a cigar before I could memorize any deck of cards. I first had to memorize those 52 images. No minor job. But my PAO system pales in comparison to the system that Ben Pridmore uses for cards. In the fall of 2002, he quit the job he'd held for 6.5 years, an assistant accountant at a meat factory in Lincolnshire. Spent a week in Vegas counting cards, and then came back to England and spent the next 6 months watching cartoons, getting qualified to teach English as a second language, and developing an entirely new mnemonic nuclear arsenal. Instead of creating a single person action object image for each card in the deck, Ben spent dozens of hours dreaming up a unique image for every 2-card combination. When he sees the Queen of Hearts followed by the Ace of Diamonds, that's a unique image. When he sees the Queen of Hearts followed by the Queen of Hearts, that's a different unique image. That's 52 times 52, or 2,704 possible card combinations in which Ben has an image pre-memorized. Like Ed, he placed 3 images to each of his loci. That means he's able to condense an entire pack of cards into just 9 loci. 52 divided by 6 and 27 packs of cards. The most he's ever been able to memorize in a single hour is just 234 places. It's hard to say which is more admirable components of this feat. Ben's mental or manual dexterity. He has developed an ability to quickly dumb down cards at a time of the top of the deck, in the process spreading them just enough to reveal the suit and number in the corner of both. When he's going at top speed, he looks at each pair of cards for less than a second. Ben developed a similarity Byzantine system for memorizing binary digits, which enables him to convert any 10-digit long string of ones and zeros into a unique image. That's 2, 10, or 1,124 images set aside for binaries. When he sees 110100101, he immediately sees it as a single chunk and image of a card game. When he sees 0111011101, he instantaneously conjures up an image of a cinema. In international memory competitions, mental athletes are given sheets of 1,200 binary digits, 30 to a row, 40 rows to a page. Then turns each row of 30 digits into a single image. The numbers 1101101000001110100100010, for example, is a muscle man putting a fish in a tin. At the time, Ben held the world record for having learned 3,705 random ones and zeros in half an hour. Every mental athlete has a weakness. and Achilles' heel. Ben's is names and faces. His scores in events are always near the bottom of the pack. I don't tend to look at people's faces when I talk to them, he told me. In fact, I have no idea what lots of people I know really look like. To get around this problem, he has been developing a new mnemonic system for the events that would assign numerical code to eye color, skin color, ear length, nose, and mouth shape. He figures that if people's faces could only be turned into a string of digits, they'd be a cinch to remember.